And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit. Like God's property, it's hard to market. So we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. 'Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the
You can convert to Judaism. You can't convert to a blood family. You cannot convert to a race. Judaism is a religion. That's all it is. Judaism is a religion. That's all it is.
Judaism is a religion. That's all it is.
So we're supposed to we're just being told that anti-Semitism is now criticizing Israel. Anti-Semitism is anything they want it to be. They can't even define it. They admit in this bill that they've passed through the House that there's really truly no actual protection for Jews, but they're just making it up as they go because they want to say, well, but Semites, which we shouldn't even be using that word anymore because most Jews who practice the religion of Judaism or who are culturally Jewish, even if they don't practice the Jewish religion, but they're culturally Jewish, like many are culturally Christian. Many of us celebrate Christmas, but we're not Christian. That's cultural Christianity. It is what it is, right? They can't define it. They're putting all these rules on us. We shouldn't even allow them to use the term anti-Semitism. It's not real. Most of these Jews are not Semites.
You know, the DNA test that they've done on the Israelis that are living over there, they're Eastern European Ashkenazi Jews.
Without getting too semantic, or at the risk of getting too semantic, does it matter that the Jews are not Semites, or does this phrase anti-Semitism just means hatred for the Jewish people? They're Ashkenazi, they're Eastern European Jews.
And so when he's saying he's coming to redeem, while he would say, redeem Israel, O God, out of all their troubles. First thing they need to be redeemed at, more dangerous than Hamas, more dangerous than Muslim neighbors, are internal, these, and there's another biblical name, these who say they are Jews and are not.
I was going to ask you about that in Revelation 3:8. I think I was going to ask you that question. Does that refer to this time, or can it refer to this time?
It can. It's Revelation 3:9. Indeed, I will make those of the synagogue of Satan who say they are Jews and are not, but lie. Yeah. And there's a different application for it, but we understand this is really there's a practical storyline I've shared before on a program maybe a year ago, I don't know, about the Khazarian mafia and the Khazarian Jews, and I'll just say the briefest understanding of it and how this applies to them, because it's about 1,000 years ago. Really, these are almost like marauding tribes, not like tribes of the tribe of Israel, but they're based out of the Ukraine, ironically or not, based out of Kiev. And these were those that would go around, take new lands, and they were known, they had brought the Babylonian religion with them. They were doing cannibalism, human trafficking, no boundaries, sex interaction. They were so wicked that the story goes that he who led, I believe he was a Tsar of Russia, when he had won a battle against him, gave him an option. And in some way or another, this is a truth that they were told, again, 1,000 years ago, you must choose a religion. You all are worthless people. You're not training your kids into any kind of civility, reasonableness. And he gave them a choice of the three Abrahamic religions. And the three Abrahamic religions being either, at the time, we'd say Catholicism, Christianity. The other one is Islam, and the other was Judaism. And so they, in a very pragmatic way, the Khazarians, chose Judaism because
that's what the Zionists did, except instead of a baseball team, they went to try to convince the Jews that the Jewish people are a nation, like France and like Spain. We'll get a land, that's Israel, that's our stadium. We'll get baseball bats and balls, we'll create a language. They sat down to create a language because nations need languages. They sat down to create a language because nations need languages. They sat down to create a language. They sat down to create a language.
They sat down to create a language.
Current day Israel is not the bloodline of the biblical Israel tribes. It is a totally different bloodline. Most of them are German, Belarus, Russian, Ukrainian. Current day Israel is not the bride of Christ. Current day Israel is not the religion of God's chosen people. Current day Israel is not the seed of Abraham. Listen, Jesus is the seed. Current day Israel is a fraud. This is important because we all know Christians, whether real or not, that say we have to support that Israel. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Bunch of Aryan-looking people that comes from Eastern Europe and pretends that God gave them the land 2,000, 3,000 years ago. Right. And oh no, we're the real Jews.
And here's what I would like to say to you, Rabbi, since you're quoting scripture, okay? The one that's relevant to me is woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness. And if you'd like to dive into a little more scripture, I think what's relevant is Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley. Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie.
Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie.
And I'm speaking.
Anyone ever heard of the word anti-Semitic? What's that mean? What's that mean? Against who? Against the who? Say it one more time. Against the who? If you're anti-Semitic, you're against Jews. Where'd that come from? You know, anti-Semitic, the word only goes back to the late 1800s. As it relates to being anti-Jewish. Now, okay, now, don't throw your rocks at me. But how is it that only white Jews get to be referred to as Semitic? But how is it that only white Jews get to be referred to as Semitic?
And the first thing I found out is this. I found out that they do not know their history. That's one of the things that I know. And so you have to tell them their history. So today I'm going to attempt to do that.
You know what you are? You are an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israel, that's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time, all that he said,
no, we don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites or you want to be Jews?
Hitler was, and the Nazis, of course, expanded on Margaret Sanger's approach to eugenics, right? Eugenics was a movement that was born in the United States under hard doctrines of racism with the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah in the African-American community in this country, right? To eliminate them.
We're finishing now part 2, chapter 2. And what we've said so far is that people have free will and their actions are, some are good and some are evil. And by the way, the Rambam writes explicitly that everyone has some good actions and some bad actions. Everyone. Everyone. And he takes it for granted that there'll be a variety. We talked about the fact that this world and the next world are asymmetrical. The next world is where the majority of a person's actions, which determine his identity, are compensated. For the righteous, they exist in the world to come and they're rewarded. And for those whose major complexion is black, are excluded from the world to come.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
Want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Hope and pray all is well with you guys. Make sure my camera is straight here. Let me adjust my camera. I forgot to make all my settings. Want to say peace and blessings to you guys. Want to say Shalom Lak, Mash Paka. Want to say peace and blessings again to you guys. Hope and pray that you guys had a great Shabbat. We had a great Shabbat today. I just thank the Most High for just allowing us to see another day that was not promised to us. So many things that are taking place, going on right now, and sorry about that. Knocked my thing over here, my camera over. I was trying to move my computer back here. Let me move it back a little more. My apologies. Trying to adjust this. All right, there we go. But a lot is happening, a lot is going on, and I just thank the Most High just allowing us to see, when I say us, my family, and even and you guys, to see another day, be in the land of the living. But we got a lot to cover, but we want to keep it simple. And I know you guys probably saw some of the clips, and as you see here with the title of this lesson, Not True Israel, Then Who Is? And I'm sure you guys probably noticed this with a number of people stating that the 1948ers are not the true people. Have you guys noticed that? Even Candace Owens, she's been really going hard at them. But she's now stating that they're not the real people. I got so many video clips. You guys could go back over and look at some of my videos. I got so many video clips of, many content creators and, just so many just saying that the 1948ers are not the original people. Have you guys observed that? You see that over and over again. That's been the thing, right? You hear it. Hey, they are not the true people. They are not the true people. You hear it all. Just a number of times. And I believe Candace Owens is one of the voices that help push that narrative, especially, have that narrative actually take root, because at one time it seemed like it was just our community, this awakening, and a handful of others that was actually making it clear that the 1948ers are not the true people. But one thing that I noticed, and I'm sure you guys probably have noticed this as well, is that they're so quick to say that the 1948ers now are not the true people. But then they stop right there. Or if they do say something, or if they do try to identify who's the original people, have you noticed they'll default by saying the Palestinians? They'll say the Palestinians are the original people. The Palestinians are the original Semitic people that lived there. They're the original, Israelites, right? Have you guys noticed that? I'm greatly appreciative for Candace Owens and, really taking the narrative to such a height of where it is now. But one thing you notice is that they go all the way to the edge and then they'll stop right there. You notice that, right? Even that pastor, right? You guys saw the pastor videos. I uploaded his video. His name is Pastor Adams. And he's going in saying that these people are not the real people. And then he will go as far as saying that he's not teaching replacement theology. But he'll say that he'll say Christ is Israel. And then the way that he tried to work around replacement theology, all those that believe in Christ, in other words, the so-called church is the new Israel. Still teaching replacement theology. I know some of you guys give him some thumbs up, but when it's all said and done, he's still teaching replacement theology. He's still teaching, reducing who the true Israelites are and placing his point of emphasis on the church. And I'm going to do a playbook. I got to get back into my playbooks because some of you guys that's been following me for a while, you know that when we deal with when I upload certain videos of pastors saying certain things, I would do a follow-up video, a playbook, and we'll just pick it apart. We'll just unpack it and we'll highlight the good things that they said, but then we'll highlight the things that they failed to say. Right? We'll get back to that. We're going to do a playbook on that. And like I said, have you guys noticed that? Have you noticed that? If you notice that this is what they've been doing, that's the theme now. They now are saying that the 1948ers are not the true people. They'll literally point out that, hey, they from Poland, they from Czechoslovakia, they say from Russia. They'll go right down the list, but they'll stop right there. Or they'll just say, hey, the Palestinians are the original people. So we're going to deal with a lot today. And that's the area that I really wanted, the angle I really want to touch on. So if you notice that, type 1. And I'll use this as an opportunity to give some shout outs. So if you notice that, that's the theme, say that the 1948ers are not the real true Israelites, but they rather default to the Palestinians, not us. All right. So let me go through some the comments here, the responses here in the chat, and use this as an opportunity to give some shout outs to you guys. In focus to see, excuse me. I just butchered your name and just reverse everything. I said into focus when actually it's in focus to see. It says 1. Let's see here. Miss C, 1, in agreement with it. We see here Pine Hill Productions, 1, in agreement. Trayvon Smith, 1, in agreement. Let's see here. Tiffany Samuel, excuse me, in agreement, 1. Let's see here. All right, there we go. Live. It was up there. Live Laugh Loveness. 1, agreement with it. Eldon the Building says 1, holding it down in California. No wait. Please don't. 1, in agreement. Protected by Yah. In agreement. Let's see, who else do we have here? Lashana, 1. All right. Monica Curry, 1. Let's see here. Let's get a few more here. Rod Lee, 1. Shout outs to you. My buddy Jay Highstyle in the building. Jay Highstyle, shout outs to you, my brother. I'm going to drop the link here. If you want to jump on, feel free to do so. I'm not sure if Berean Scholar is in the building. I haven't seen him here yet, but if so, I will drop the link if you want to jump on, and we can go in on this discussion. All right. Ernest Higgs, 1. Dwight Reed, 1. Daily Repentance, 1. Let's see here. Wayne's Wife, 1. Shaquan Williams, 1. So far, we're all in agreement here. Donna Jones, 1. Let's see here. Twilla, 1. What Now, 1. So far, it looks like it's unanimous here. We all have heard that. All right. Joy, Sister Joy, shout outs to you. Been holding it down, been supporting the platform for quite some time. Really appreciate the love and support. Really do. All right. All right. See Berean Scholar in the building. So I'm going to drop the link here in a second here. Let's see here. Felicia Ya, 1. Let's see here. And Berean Scholar gave a shout out here. He also agreed. He typed 1. Kemet, what is it? Kemet X agrees. Christus agrees. Let's see here. Hepzibah agreed. Let me go back to Christus. Christus, I saw comments here. Christus, Palestinians are now native to Palestine. Yeah, you are hearing that, right? Let's see here. Shalom to you as well. Let's see here. Still Black Jesus, like that, right? Agrees. Shout outs to you. Kadarian agrees as well. Roth agrees. All right, we got it coming in. I know the chat is picking up here. Moderators, you guys know what to do when people get into the chat and start acting crazy, right? You tend to have trolls, and you guys know what to do. Mark Lloyd, 1. All right, we'll do a couple more, and we'll get started here. Virginia from Northern VA, okay. 1, okay, you're in Virginia. All right. Come see us. All right, we're in Virginia as well. We are in the Richmond area near the airport. All right, minutes away from the airport. All right, let's see here. Twilla Bo or Twilla B, 1. All right, Darnell Vaughn. Let's see here. This is an all-time message. Needed this. Hallelujah. Appreciate it, my brother. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the love and support. We'll get a couple more in. Brother Dwayne, in agreement, 1. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get it in. Daughter of Yah says 1, in agreement. All right, Daughter of Yah, appreciate the love and support. Let's see here. Nicholas, let me make sure. Nicole, family, I can't. Forgive me if I'm butchering your name here. I'm looking at it. Look like Nicholas Henry, but I see the A and the S, so it could look like Nickel anyway. But I'm just going to default to saying Nicholas Henry. And if I'm incorrect, correct me. Forgive me, like the old school would say, charge it to my head, not to my heart. David Wicks, peace and blessings to you. And we'll get a couple more, as I said before. I think that's Yolanda Jenkins, and we're just going to let that be the last one. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it, family. And like I said, I know you guys have heard this a number of times. You know, you hear it. Hey, you know, the 1948ers are not the original people, but they refuse to say who are the original people. They refuse to say it. They refuse to acknowledge the original people. And we know that is calculated. Just like even using defaulting to the Palestinians, that is a calculated attack. And I'm going to prove it to you. So before we get into it, I want to share one more clip of the original people, some footage from 1925, and you'll see some of the original people in the area, the people that's indigenous to the area, the people that have been forced out further into Africa and other spaces, right, by these invaders. But let's play the clip, and then we'll go ahead and get into it and really have a great discussion. So let me play a clip here. All right, here's the clip. All right, so you guys got to see the video. You saw it, you witnessed, and you don't see, for the most part, those people today. What you see is primarily of a Arab descent, for the most part of what you see. When you see Palestinians, so to speak, you don't see what we see inside this video. This footage is from 1925. I also have a 1925 video of the Egyptians. I got some footage here. Actually, I believe I even posted it on the channel about 2 years ago. But you don't see or hear about the Negroes, the Afro Palestinians, for the most part. All right. And so I want to share that video so that way you guys can use that as a baseline to show that our people were thick and as you notice, they called it North Africa, Northeast Africa, and they also highlighted Jerusalem. Let me play just the beginning portion of the clip so you guys can catch this. All right. Let me see here. Let me play it one more time. I'm not going to play the whole clip. I'm just going to play the initial captions that you'll see. Peep this out. You saw that it said North Africa and Jerusalem, right? Not this Middle East. You saw North Africa. And they're referring to the land of Israel, right? That we're dealing with today. That for a period of time, it was labeled as Palestine. All right. And so did you guys catch that? If you caught that, type 1. Did you catch at the beginning of the video, it said North Africa and Jerusalem. All right. If you caught that, type 1, and while you guys are responding, shout outs to you, Berean Scholar. Welcome aboard. Want to say shalom to you. Like the old school would say, Sugar Hill, the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour.
Shalom, brother. Shalom.
Shalom. How you doing, my brother?
I am doing great. I am, like you said, I am thankful that Yah has allowed us another day.
Absolutely. Another day.
Another
day. And so the thought for today is not true Israel, then who is? We already know, and some of you guys know that the teachings I've done, the very first teaching I did years ago titled Anyone But Who? The Negroes. Y'all notice that everyone could be Israel, but not the Negroes. They're constantly talking all around us, but not us. They're conceding that's, conceding to acknowledge certain tribes over in Africa, but they won't make the connection to us here in the United States. The Limba is getting credit, not the credit they deserve, but they don't make the correlation. They don't make that bridge between them and us. The Igbos, Yoruba, they're not making the connection between them and us. Even though you see we all know the Slave Coast, the Gold Coast is right there, right where you see Nigeria, right where you see Ghana, is right there. But anyone but the Negro. If they're, when it comes to us, there's always an excuse. So then they try to say that those that are, quote, like they would like to use, Black Jews, is by way of converting to Judaism. When their records say differently, some of the old sources. So we're going to deal with Palestinians, because we need to get proper clarity, because I'm here to tell you, to name that territory Palestine all connects to the whole goal of erasing and hijacking our identity. Let me say that again. You guys learned earlier, some of you guys that saw the Shabbat service, when King Saul, as we highlighted King Saul being anointed by the Most High, we dealt with primarily 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 1 and 2, and then we skipped down to verse 9. But one thing that was that really stood out in verse 1, it said that basically King Saul was appointed, of course, to be the head Nagad in charge.
There you go.
But it also said that he's over Yahweh's inheritance. Israel, the true chosen people, we are his inheritance. We are, when you start researching inheritance, it's synonymous with heritage. And it means what? Valued objects. So we are very valuable to him. He states that we are what? A peculiar people. So with what they are doing and what others are doing, including Candace Owens, gotta put her name on there too. They are all in cahoots with hijacking the inheritance of the Father. which is us. So again, you guys see some of the Candace Owens videos I post it because she's pushing the narrative about the 1948ers. I commend her for that, but I'm like, hey, it's time for you to go over that, go over that cliff, take the dive, take the plunge. You're not going to tell me with all that research you've done that you did not come across that information. You're not going to tell me that with Kanye West and, you know, you being so close with Kanye West with Ye, and Ye, he will talk, right? He's a talker. You can see that. You know, he shared information with her. And I know she had to research that information because she's proven that she is a great researcher. And her staff had watched some of our videos. I watched some of her videos and I saw the sequence of how she revealed her sources. So she's watching videos and information presented from this awakening to the point that many was referring to her as, hey, is she taking the Hebrew Israelites talking points of just how in sync she was and is with that argument? But she stopped right there. Not just her, every person that, you know, she's not the only content creator out there that looked like you and I that stops right at that edge, that edge. Would not take the plunge. Any comments, Berean Scholar?
You're definitely right, because there's no way that the people she's around and the information she's already divulged that she didn't see the whole story. There's no way.
It's no way. And even that Pastor Adams' latest video, that many of you guys gave him a lot of credit, but he was all over the place when you really listen to what he said. He gave some accurate information on parts of it, but especially if you heard the full message, I couldn't even put the full message. That's how bad it was. Because he was still pushing the Eurocentric doctrine of the church. But again, we're not just going to focus on Candace Owens, but every last one of those guys. And you guys know I got a number of lectures saying they are Khazarians. They are not connected genetically to the ancient Israelites, but they won't say that we are. Most cases they'll say that the church is the new Israel, so to speak. And if they're not saying the church is the new Israel, so to speak, or spiritual Israel, they'll say that that the Palestinians are. All right, so we're going to get into it. Go ahead, Berean Scholar. I see you ready to go bombastic, Mr. Fantastic.
It's just amazing, man, because all the information that's available. I was doing a studies earlier, about some of our founding fathers. The information that was available during their time is out. I mean, the maps of Wuda, cartographers who was citing what they call Jews, but we know as Israelite tribes in certain areas. Benjamin Franklin was a cartographer. He studied maps. He read books. Most of the books they knew who we were.
Exactly. And I want to reiterate this. I want to echo what Jay Highstyle pointed out. Family, let's be respectful. We are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. Whether you are, rock with Candace Owens or not, that's your preference, because again, it's not about trying to trust her. I trust none of these guys. But when someone is giving information, including Kanye West was good. He took that conversation and took it to a whole nother level, even though it was in a negative way, according to them. But for me, it was a positive thing. For us, it was a positive thing, because it took our conversations from just being in the areas and in the spaces where we would have these discussions, and it took it to an international level. So now, because of not Candace Owens, but because of Kanye West, because of Kyrie Irving, because of Whoopi Goldberg, because really Whoopi Goldberg was the first one in that three-way storm that hit, and she did it twice, right? So Whoopi Goldberg, then the Kanye West and Kyrie Irving was all in the same era. Within, I want to say Whoopi's was a couple of months prior, then it happened again. and then Kanye West and Kyrie was within a matter of a couple of weeks. But the point that I'm making, family, is not about trying to say who trusts who. I trust none of them, right? I trust the Most High, because guess what? We got people from within our community, whether you were still in the church or not, that are doing all kinds of crooked things, right? So, and many of you guys still follow them, even when it was proven that these guys were wicked, even when it was proven that these guys are crooked, but yet you still follow them. I trust none of these guys. I was going to say ninjas, right? But you guys know where I'm going at with that. It's not about trying to promote any trust with any of these guys. It's all about continuing to use that as an opportunity to witness. And before we get started, I want to say this to you, family. We have to get outside of this mindset that is calculated for us to be in, that we could be so selective when it comes to our people, but we'll listen to the 1948ers.
Oh, yes.
Starting with them. We'll listen to everyone else, give them another opportunity. Some of you guys are actually praying for them. But you will not give when it comes to your own people. So let's put things in this proper perspective. All right. So let's get into it, family. Let's get into it. All right. I don't want to sound like I'm just mumbling, and I don't want to sound like I'm babbling and all that other stuff, right? Babble. Okay, all right, here we go. We're gonna get into it. Not true Israel. Then who is? So we're gonna start off and make it clear for those that are watching that the 1948ers, they are not the true people, and they are telling their story themselves, making it clear that they are not the true people. So let's start with some sources here. Right. But let me just point this out. Have you noticed more and more large social media platforms, as I already asked this question, are starting to say that the Israelis are not the true Israelites? You guys already acknowledged that. You're noticing this. Have you also noticed that many of them would rather say who's not, but not who are? They're comfortable with saying who is not, but they will not say who are. Who is the people, right? Who are they? Some would go as far as saying that the Palestinians are the true Israelites. Can't make this up. So who are the Palestinians? Who are the Palestinians? And we're going to answer this question, but we got to continue to reiterate some points here, right? What are the points that we got to reiterate? We got to continue to prove that the 1948ers, they are not the people. And family, I promise you, I'm going to get back to the series of Blotted Out, because I left off on Black Jews. So I wrote it out and everything, the script out, and I'll start working on that production over the next week or two. All right. But again, who are the Palestinians? Who are the Palestinians? But first, let's continue to drill, or in your heads, and for those that are new to this awakening and you don't have any sources, or you're trying to gather sources, let me reiterate it to you. These people are not the original people. Unfortunately, we do have some of our brothers and sisters that are overseas that are acknowledged to be Israelites, are calling them Israelites, saying that these people are connected to the original people. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not going to mention any groups. But anyway, let's get into it. Are they Palestinians? I mean, Philistines. Let me say this again. Who are the Palestinians? Are they Philistines? I'm going to break this down, family. And you notice that big X there? The Palestinians are not the Philistines. Let me say that again. The Palestinians are not the ancient Philistines. They're two different people, two different groups. Let me say it one more time, because I know it may be hard for some of you guys, and I may even have to say it in slow-mo. Right?
Bring it out.
The Palestinians are not the ancient Philistines. For the people in the back, they're not the same people. They are not the same people. And we're going to prove it. It's pretty simple here, but let's prove it. Are they true Israelites? And we're going to start off by dealing with the 1948ers, though. We're going to start with the 1948ers, then we'll then answer this question about the Palestinians and the Philistines. So let's start with who are the 1948ers, right? Genesis 9:27, and I want to reiterate this point. We want to drill this home, continue to drill this point home. Genesis chapter 9, verse 27, Elohim shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. So what is the proper context of this key prophecy? What does it mean to enlarge? What is the meaning of that from a Hebraic school of thought? Right? We see the word here, patha. It says here, to open. An example B. The key that I want to get to the point where it says delude, allure, deceive, enlarge, entice, flatter, persuade, silly one. So this is not a positive thing. Now, many commentaries will, especially when we start looking at it from the Eurocentric way of looking at the scriptures, they're going to make this favorable to themselves. This is not the Most High blessing Japheth. This ties right into the son of perdition. You guys already know, I already taught on the son of perdition, connecting this here, but we're just going to do a refresher just to highlight a couple of things. So connecting the historical roles of Japheth's descendants to these spiritual dynamics emphasizes how this enlargement through power and influence often occurred at the expense of Shem's descendants, manifesting in various forms of persecution, oppression, and spiritual subjugation. So Japheth is running wild. The descendants of Japheth is running wild. I encourage you guys to watch the lesson I did a while back called the Fierce Nation of Japheth. And all of Japheth, those that are within Japheth's bloodline, they are running rapid. I mean, they're all over the place. These are some fierce people. All right. So this prophecy connects with the prophecy of the son of perdition that Apostle Paul touched on. Right. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he as Elohim sitteth in the temple of Yahweh, showing himself that he is Yahweh. Are we not seeing that? We see that the so-called Magen or Magan Dawid in the Israeli Magen Dawid, that so-called star or shield of David, that is not biblical, no matter how many try to slice and dice trying to justify wearing it. You see the images that you see of the Messiah all within those spaces. That is a reflection of our oppressors. So as you see here, who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he as Elohim sitteth in the temple of Yahweh, showing himself that he is Yahweh. So how are they able to carry out their agenda? Now, before I answer this question, I want to make it clear. Let me highlight one of the key attributes, because let me go back here, right? This is telling you that these fierce nations of Japheth, they love to be worshipped. They love to be worshipped. This is why it's a no-brainer for them to say, hey, when they took over our spaces and other spaces, they kept the same statues up and just put other names on it, but still making it so that way they can be worshipped. So they love to be worshiped. You guys remember this clip, and I'm going to prove that even today they love to be worshiped, confirming themselves to be what? The sons of Japheth, the sons of perdition, that bloodline. Here it is. Here's a quick clip.
And you know what else, Jim? I just want to say this to our Christian friends, you know, just to call it as it is and say it straight out, you know, you guys are worshiping one Jew. That's a mistake. You should be worshiping every single one of us, because we all die for your sins every single day. And that's exactly what's going on here.
Yeah.
We're all God's firstborn. We're dying for your sins right now because the Jewish people in the land of Israel are the bulwark against the orcs. Okay? The orcs are coming not to a theater near you, but to your home.
Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
I want to play this video again. And I want to make sure, because I can't pause it, for you to see some of the foolishness in it. Notice the rabbi have his name and title, but next to this pastor, he has Noahide in parentheses. Did you guys notice that? Let me play it one more time. Look at the caption below. You'll see the rabbi's name, and then you'll see the gentleman that he's having conversation with, this pastor. And look at the caption. Look at his name, and in parentheses, you have the Noahide.
And you know what else, Jim? I just want to say this to our Christian friends, you know, just to call it as it is and say it straight out, you know, you guys are worshiping one Jew. That's a mistake. You should be worshiping every single one of us, because we all die for your sins every single day. And that's exactly what's going on here.
Yeah.
We're all God's firstborn. We're dying for your sins right now because the Jewish people in the land of Israel are the bulwark against the orcs. Okay? The orcs are coming not to a theater near you, but to your home.
Anyway, did you guys notice that at the bottom of the screen in the caption? These guys are telling you who they are. You know that old saying, if someone tells you who they are, believe them.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Don't sit up there trying to justify and try to say, well, that person really didn't mean. No, when that person tell you who they are, believe them. Don't try to make excuses for them. But look at here. How are they able to carry out their agenda? How are these guys able to carry out their agenda? What's the key component? Daniel chapter 7, verse 23 gives us the key component. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom of the earth, and shall be diverse. You see the word shana'ah, from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And again, it says this beast shall be diverse. When we look at that word diverse and define it from a Hebrew school of thought, it says to alter, change, manipulate. So this beast is going to be very skilled at that. Very skilled at that. All right? Very skilled at that. All right, I got to put this user in timeout. Come on, family. No profanity. All right? No profanity. All right? We can't allow that, and we already under the microscope. But we should be at a place that we don't have to post profanity inside the chat, because that can bring a strike against the channel. And with what we covering here, I can say emphatically, we're one of the very, very few channels that go hard against the 1948ers. Been unwavering. So we don't need to have profanity and things like that posted inside the chat that can jeopardize this channel. All right. So let's be respectful. All right. I put the person in timeout. Just so that way, we can make sure we set the tone here. Jay Highstyle made comments on that, basically making it clear that we don't roll like that. Watch your mouths, watch what your fingertips, so to speak. All right. But anyway, so this fourth beast is skilled at manipulation, altering. When you alter something, that means that what? You modifying it, taking it away from its original. In the linguistic side of things, this is where you get the word interpolate or interpolation. That means you taking something that's an original and you inserting something else, something foreign into it to form something else. So again, as you see, to alter, to change, and also manipulate. All right. Let's see here. Berean Scholar, anything you want to share as we continue?
No, keep going, brother. Keep going.
And so when we look at diverse from the etymological perspective, it says different in kind, not alike, essentially different, turn different ways, disagreeable, unkind, hostile. We see here what's interesting here, including and promoting persons of previously underrepresented minority identities. That's a pretty interesting input there, entry here. All right. But anyway, who is this beast? Who is this beast, family? Who is this beast that will operate under the spirit of altering, changing, and manipulating? Who is this beast that will operate under the spirit of altering, changing, including promoting persons of previously underrepresented minority identities? Who is this beast? Who is this beast? I can tell you, it's all the Abrahamic so-called religions, Islam, Christianity, Catholicism, which basically is the same, and also Judaism. So let's start with this key word here. What is Hebrew Israelism? Family, you guys heard this a number of times. Many will use this term or this word and made this word into a demonic word, coming up with all kinds of words. Oh, these guys are practicing Hebrew Israelism. Guess what? That's right. And guess what? The church and all these so-called Abrahamic faiths that Abraham didn't create. I'm going to keep saying that. Abraham didn't create none of these, so it should not be called an Abrahamic faith. Israel did not create any of these. The Messiah did not create none of these. None of them. Islam is a 6th, 7th century AD created religion. Truth be told, Christianity is a 3rd century created religion, 2nd, 3rd century. It's not an ancient religion. It's not an antiquity. Judaism, we could put lump all of that together. All of that stuff is not ancient. Those are man-made creations in which none of them practice nor created. So let's deal with this word Hebrew Israelism, because the church is operating under Hebrew Israelism. All these Abrahamics, well, I'm not even going to call it Abrahamic faiths. All these religions of the fourth beast, they are all operating under Hebrew Israelism. Let's prove it. Let's start with the word Hebraism. Let's see what Hebraism means. It says here, Hebraic plus ism. Let me say that again. Hebraic plus ism. All right. Meaning a quality or characteristics of the biblical Hebrew people.
Hello.
Let's look at Hebraic. Let's pull it up here. It says here, it tells us to see the word Hebrews. All right. When we go to Hebrew and Israelite. But let me make it clear. All of the descendants of Eber are Hebrews. All of the descendants of Eber are Hebrews. All of the sons of Abraham, right? Now they're under the blessing of Abraham, because all of them had to receive circumcision. But the promised seed is Isaac. All of Abraham's seeds got blessed, but Isaac is the promised seed. So that means the Edomites, they are Hebrews, but they're not Israelites. That's the point that Paul made in Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9 made it clear when Paul says not all that says that they are Israel, he was referring to other Hebrews like descendants of Ishmael, like some of the other siblings. That's why they refer to as the children of the flesh of Abraham. They are the Hebrews, but they are not what? Israelites.
Come on.
Okay, so Israelite. Let's break this down real quick. This is, I can't stand this word because it's a word of confusion. It's a deceptive word. So look at what it says. A Israelite, a Jew, one of the people of the ancient Israelites, a descendant of Israel or Jacob. Where did this come from? This right here tells you that this is what you get into a hack. This is an interpolation. This is inserting something into a text to form something else. An Israelite, this entry should not even be there.
Go ahead and
It should
elaborate
simply
why
say
it's there,
Israelite.
Pastor.
Go ahead, Berean
Go
Scholar. I'm sorry.
and elaborate on why it's there. How they go back. Have they been back in scholarsism and put their names there where it don't belong.
Exactly. And even Josephus touched on that. Josephus said that the Greeks were very busy at placing their names over everything, hijacking the ancient cultures of every place that they've conquered. That word Jew is nothing more than a political ploy to hijack an identity that did not belong to them. Now, when did let's just use the proper ancient word Yahwadah? When did Yahwadah become synonymous with all of Israel?
Exactly.
It's a tribe within the 12, or should I say within the overall descendants of Israel. The father, Jacob. Come on, family. So one of the people of ancient Israel, a descendant of Israel or Jacob. We're just gonna highlight this portion, a descendant of Israel or Jacob. We're not dealing with this other stuff right here. All right. Let's look at this word ism, this word forming, suffix. All right. Look at what it says. Ism means a practice, system, doctrine, etc. And look at what it says. Noun ending signifying the practice or teaching. All right. So when you see that word ism connected to Israelism or Hebrew Israelism, is saying that ism represents the practice or teaching of who? The Israelites. That's what it means. So if you hear someone say Hebrew Israelism, the doctrines of who? The ancient Hebrew Israelites. Don't fall for that trap. Oh, show me in the scripture where it says Hebrew Israelite. Don't fall for that trap, family. Their vocabulary, the way their sentence structure is different from ours. Paul said, are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. And went even further, say he's out of the tribe of Benjamin. Anyway, let's keep it going. Berean Scholar trying to instigate here. All right.
I am.
So Hebrew Israelism simply means the practice, system, doctrine, and teachings of the Hebrew Israelites. So anyone that is practicing, or should I say studying the scriptures and implementing that, guess what? Into their lives, they are practicing Hebrew Israelism or Hebrew Israeliteism, however you want to label it. They're practicing Hebrew Israelism. They're practicing because they're using the content, the doctrines of the ancient Israelites. So Hebrew Israelism also means doctrine or characteristics of the biblical Hebrew Israelite people. So what is the doctrine or characteristics of the biblical Hebrew Israelite people? All the books of the scriptures are written by ancient Hebrew Israelites, period. Technically, Christianity is practicing Hebrew Israelism. Catholicism is practicing Hebrew Israelism. Islam is practicing Hebrew Israelism. Judaism is practicing Hebrew Israelism. Now, what is the meaning of Israeli? What is the meaning of Israeli? Let's break it down. So and they telling you, they use this word all the time, Israeli. Citizen of the state of Israel. Notice they say citizen of the state of Israel, but they're not indigenous. They're not the original to the area. They're not bloodline. It says it distinguishes the citizens of the modern state from the ancient people. So they're not the ancient people. So let's define their word, Jew and Jewish, with other sources. This is a key source here. We're going to use this for the Palestinians when we get to that point. A brief history of the terms for Jew. And this is coming from the Jewish Almanac, 1980, page 3. Strictly speaking, it is incorrect to call an ancient Israelite a Jew, or to call a contemporary Jew an Israelite or a Hebrew. So they're making it clear that you should not be using the word Israelite or Hebrew synonymously with the word Jew. Look at what it says. The first Hebrews may not have been Jews at all. And contemporary Palestinians, it says the same about them. So why can't we let go of that word?
And see,
truth be told, go ahead, Berean Scholar.
See, even that it's the may not been Israel, Jews at all.
Exactly. But they make it clear you do not use this together. And, you cannot call these modern people in Israel Israelites or Hebrews. Come on, family. This is why, and I know many of you guys will say, we're the original Jews. No, we're not.
Oh, no.
They created that word for them. A more accurate statement is we are the original Judah. We're the original Israel. All right, let's continue. So an Israeli is someone who is born in Israel, but not related to the blood descendants of ancient Hebrew Israelites. So let's unpack a few sources here. I'm not going to go through all these sources for time's sake, because I do want to make sure that we stay on course with the Palestinians. But we want to first knock down these 1948ers with their own sources. This is coming from Times of Israel, leaked report. Israel acknowledges Jews, in fact, Khazars' secret plan for reverse migration to Ukraine, March 18th, 2014. And this is a quote coming from there. It is well known that sometime in the 8th to 9th centuries, the Khazars, a warlike Turkic people, converted to Judaism and ruled over a vast domain in what became southern Russia and Ukraine. What happened to them after the Russians destroyed the empire around the 11th century has been a mystery. It's really not a mystery. It's not a mystery, because you have guys like this that's spilling the beans. Let me see if I have. I know Sister Carol is not in the building, but this is her favorite guy right here. If I still have him up, I probably took it down, but let me see if I still have him up. This is her favorite guy right here. the gift that continues to keep giving.
You say, well, where the name Ashkenazi came from? So, a little over 1,000 years ago, as Jewish people scattered around the world had now emigrated in Europe and now were living in the Rhineland in Germany, they looked at the name Gomer in Genesis 10, and they connected Gomer with Germany, so they took on the identity of the name Ashkenaz. It has nothing to do with Ashkenaz in the Bible, which is a descendant of Japhet. It's just a name that was taken. Okay, it's that simple. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin.
Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin.
Michael Brown, I am Caucasian. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin or anything else. It was shortened from a Russian name when my grandfather came over at Ellis Island. The name got shortened to Brown. It's just a name. That's all it is. So the idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from Japhet is a myth, 100% false, zero truth to it. Just study the history.
Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Stranger danger!
Yeah, family, we're going to be pulling the stranger danger. We're going to be hitting that button a few more times in this lesson here. All right. And I thought I had the clip up here with him even discussing how the Khazarians, he contradicts himself, saying that they disappeared, but then many of them transition or converted over to Judaism, starting with the leadership. He's the gift that continues to give. All right. So what happened to them after the Russians? You heard what he said. He said his father came over from where? Russia. Said that they took on the name of Ashkenazi. What happened to them after the Russians destroyed that empire around the 11th century has been a mystery. Many have speculated that the Khazars became the ancestors of the Ashkenazi Jews. All right. So this is a source here. I'm going to drop the link here if it's not too lengthy, because sometimes when you drop characters that's over or links that's over a certain the character length limit, it may cut it off. So I'll just drop this if this allow me to. I'll drop it in the link. The comment section, not comment section, but the chat. So that way you guys can do a comparison here as well. Let me copy this here. Let's see here. All right. This is what I'm making reference to. All right. Now, I want to point out a few things. This is going back to that power of that, or the attribute of that fourth beast. Remember, the fourth beast is very good with manipulating, altering, and changing things. All right. See my Sister Carol in the building. Sister Carol, I'm gonna drop the link again for you if you want to jump in. If you're able to, great. If you're not able to, definitely understand. All right. So let me copy this over and into the chat. Feel free to jump on anytime. All right. So leak report, Israel acknowledges Jews, in fact, Khazars' secret plan for reverse migration to Ukraine. Right. And what really stood out for me in this article, and I have this in the page rip effect, this area that I'm going to read here. Right. They here it says, editor's note, this blog post is a work of satire. So they're trying to say that this entire article here is satire. All right, let me bring Sister Carol in real quick while I explain that. All right, so peace and blessings, Sister Carol.
Peace and blessings, brother. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good. Just
peace and blessings, sis.
Hey, bro.
Just in our mode.
Oh, I see.
Hallelujah. You know how we do. Anytime you want to jump in, feel free to do so, okay?
Okay, I'm gonna have to catch up with y'all going. Go ahead.
All right. All right. So as you see here with this article, right? I'm gonna show you just how deceptive these 1948ers are. So you see this caption here in red. This blog post is a work of satire, right? It was published in 2014 on the Eve of Purim, a Jewish holiday that is celebrated with wild merrymaking and raucous comedy. This is not biblical. With a particular emphasis on poking fun at anti-Semitism and ignorance. So this caption was added on February 28th, 2022 at 11:26 a.m. Well, how did I know? Well, I went to the Wayback Machine, right? And what's significant about this is February 28th, I'm going to show you the significance of why it's important for you guys to understand. Because I asked the question of what's the significance of February 28th? All right. I see someone in the back. I'm not opening it up for all the chat. I may do that at the end, but I'm not doing it right now because for the sake of time, and I want to make sure I get through the lesson. So I invited normally Berean Scholar and Sister Carol. They're normally the panel. So I'm not opening this up for discussion right now. If we have enough time, I'll do that at the end, but I don't want to do it prior to, just for the sake of time. Really appreciate it. All right. So what's the significance of February 28, 2022? Well, the United States, right? Or U.S. News, Russia invades Ukraine, a timeline of crisis, February 24th, 2022. Wait a minute. Let me share this again, right? This caption was added February 28th, 2022. Russia invades Ukraine, a timeline of crisis, February 24th, 2022. Look at this article here. All right. The lead up to the aftermath of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Look at the date. The world watched as Russia invaded its neighboring country, Ukraine. How did the two countries, once tied together by the Soviet Union, get to this point? These are the major events that led to the crisis, along with some key moments since the war began more than 2 years ago. All right. So you see where we're going at with this, the manipulation, right? That fourth beast. Look at this article here, Times of Israel leaked report, and we're going to go to the original article. We're going to go like that what's that, the Wolfman Jack. What we're going to do right here, we're going to go back.
Way back.
Way back.
Way back. Way back.
So we're going to use the Wayback Machine to go back to the original snapshot, the original article. March 18th, 2014 is when it was originally posted. Now look, family, the Wayback Machine takes snapshots of the current state of any channel, any website rather. It takes a snapshot of where it is at that timestamp. So back here, they have the original snapshot. So this is the original snapshot of the site, the original posting of this article. And notice what you don't see.
There's no.
You don't see that caption.
No.
Imagine that.
So
Not
they
shocked.
waited basically how many years? 8 years to add a caption saying that it's satire. 8 years later. Right at the time of Russia invading Ukraine. Is that coincidental, family?
Not at all.
So as you see here, March 22nd, 2014, you don't see any of that stuff here. But this is actual information from this original article. It says a warlike Turkic people and a mystery. So they're referring to who? The Khazars. Starting here, let's go back here. Leak reports, Israel acknowledges Jews, in fact, Khazars, secret plan for reverse migration to Ukraine. So this is all connected. They're referring to them as being what? Turks. They are doing what? Self-incrimination. You know that old saying, if you ever really want to know about a person, just let them talk.
Yep.
Just let them talk. They'll tell you everything. Sometimes with social media, you have us talk, all of us talking, right? Some of us just don't know how to just sit back and listen. But look at what it says here. It is well known that sometime in the 8th to 9th centuries, the Khazars, a warlike Turkic people, converted to Judaism and ruled over a vast domain in what became southern Russia and Ukraine. So they're the same people. It's a family squabble that we see that's happening over there. What happened to them after the Russians destroyed that empire? Around the 11th century has been a mystery. Many have speculated that the Khazars became the ancestors of the Ashkenazi Jews. Arabs have long cited the Khazar hypothesis in attempts to deny a Jewish historical claim to the land of Israel. But we know that it's not just the Arabs. We have their own people making that claim. Starting with Aaron Elhake. Right? He's been making that claim. He did that, what? I think his first published report was about 12, 13 years ago.
Yep.
Right? So they try to say it's the Arabs, but we'll get to that here in a second, family. So it says here, Arabs have long cited the Khazar hypothesis in attempts to deny a Jewish historical claim to the land of Israel. During the UN debate over Palestine petition, Chaim Weizmann responded sarcastically. It is very strange. All my life, I have been a Jew, felt like a Jew, and now it said, and I now learned that I am a Khazar. In a more folksy vein, Prime Minister Golda Meir famously said, Khazar Smazar. There is no Khazar people. I knew no Khazars in Kyiv or Milwaukee. Show me these Khazars of whom you speak. You know, I wish I had my animation with Bugs Bunny saying, you know, when I show, hey, if the killer or if such and such was in the oven, would I throw a match inside it? And he was inside the oven. That's exactly what they're doing here. Show me these Khazars of whom you speak. So Israel seems finally to have thrown in the towel, and this is coming from this article, just highlighting a couple of quotes. Israel seems finally to have thrown in the towel. A blue ribbon team of scholars from leading research institutions and museums had just issued a secret report to the government acknowledging that European Jews are in fact Khazars. All right, going back here. Speaking off the record, he explained, we first thought that admitting we are really Khazars was one way to get around Abbas' insistence that no Jews can remain in a Palestinian state. Maybe we were grasping at straws, but when he refused to accept that, it forced us to think about more creative solutions. So they're trying to say, well, we just said that just so that way we can use it as a workaround to get what we want here. As he's saying here, we first start admitting that we are really Khazars was one way to get around Abbas' insistence that no Jew can remain in a Palestinian state. Come on, family. You can't make this stuff up. Ukrainian invitation for the Jews to return was a godsend. Relocating all the settlers within Israel in a short time would be difficult for reasons of logistics and economics. We certainly don't want another Falashin-like expulsion of the settlers in the Gaza hit Nakut, excuse me if I butcher it here. In other words, disengagement. Speaking on deep background, a well-placed source in intelligence circles said, "We are not talking about all the Ashkenazi Jews going back to Ukraine." Now think about it. It's saying going back.
It's all the same thing.
That's the
back.
key. It's saying going back, which means that they are what?
From.
Come on, family.
Sound like a romper room now.
Exactly what it is.
Come on, family. You can't get around this. Simple words, just simple little words. So when it says here, we're not talking about all the Ashkenazi Jews going back to Ukraine.
Mm.
And you could go and verify these articles, and I show them from time to time that Ukraine been in play well before 1948. They was using 6 million 1948ers since like 1913.
That's correct.
For Ukraine, Ukraine always been in play with the hustle. This press, as usual, exaggerates and sensationalizes. This is why we need military censorship. All right. Any comments, guys, before I continue?
No, keep rolling.
Yeah, this is getting good.
Mm-hmm.
I love when they tell on themselves.
Exactly.
So Ukraine extended an invitation for Jews to return, particularly after the collapse of the Soviet Union. In the early 1990s, following Ukraine's independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, the government and Jewish organizations promoted the idea of Jewish repatriation, especially in the context of the country seeking to rebuild its economy and identity. Because remember, I think it's called Birkenau. That's Russia. That's a Jewish state. Many don't know Russia has a Jewish state.
Mm.
It's called Birkenau. Look it up, family. They're the only people that have a Jewish state in Russia, the Northeast Africa, and they would have had one here down in Sister Carol neck in the woods.
That's right.
In Texas, because they were targeting Texas.
There's a heavy population of them here in the state.
They were targeting Uganda. Come on, family. These are facts. So again, in the early 1900s, following Ukraine's independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, the government and Jewish organizations promoted the idea of Jewish repatriation, especially in the context of the country seeking to rebuild its economy and identity. All right, let's examine another section of the article titled Khazaria 2.0. That's right. In this article, the section of this article, it says Khazaria 2.0. As you see right here, Khazaria 2.0. And this is the original article. All right, the map that they have here too, inside this article. All Jews who wish to return would be welcomed back without condition as citizens. So if they take part in the promised infusion of massive Israeli military assistance, including troops, equipment, constructions of new bases, if the initial transfer works, other West Bank settlers would be encouraged to relocate to Ukraine as well. After Ukraine, bolstered by this support, reestablishes control over all its territory, the current autonomous Republic of Crimea would once again become autonomous Jewish domain. You see, come on, family, they hustling. they admitting that they all are the same people.
Mm-hmm.
The small scale successor to the medieval empire of Khazaria, in other words, as it says here, as the peninsula too was once known, would be called Yiddish Khazare. Called in Yiddish Khazare. as you know, the spokesman continued, the prime minister has said time and time again, we are a proud and ancient people whose history here. What is the here? They're not dealing with Northeast Africa. They said their history go back 4,000 years here. The same is true. Actually, I didn't go. I'll put the extra there. I cut it off anyway. They know who they are, and they know who they are not. Family, I just want to make sure you guys understand that. Let me say that again. They know who they are, and they know who they are not. They know who we are. They know we are the originals. They know that we are not converts in the definition of how they define the word. Now, we know if we look at converts according to scripture, Shaba, I love saying that word, Shaba, means to what? Turn back to. Not embrace a religion, turn back to. So they know who they are and who they are not. They know who we are. They know that we're the people of the book. Live Science surprise, Ashkenazi Jews are genetically European. Family, I got sources on top of sources, right? Look at this here. Maternal DNA. Richards and his colleagues analyzed mitochondrial DNA, which is contained in the, what is this, cytoplasm? Is that how you pronounce it, Sister Carol? I know that's your area.
That's it.
All right.
Cytoplasm.
All right. Of the egg and passed down only from the mother from more than 3,500 people throughout the Near East, the Caucasus, and Europe, including Ashkenazi Jews. Now, peep this out, fam. Look at how they try to be deceptive with this, right? I'm gonna break this down. I'm gonna use their own articles to battle against each other, to debunk themselves. The team found that 4 founders. How many founders?
4.
4. The team found that 4 founders were responsible for 40% of Ashkenazi mitochondrial DNA, and that all of these founders originated where? In Europe.
Dun, dun, dun.
The majority of the remaining people could be traced to other European lineages.
Wow.
Because some would say, wait a minute, 40%? Oh, so that means the others are from Northeast Africa. No, they said the majority of the remaining people could be traced to other European lineages. All told, more than 80% of the maternal lineages of Ashkenazi Jews could be traced to where? Europe. With only a few lineages originating in the Near East. Virtually none came from the North Caucasus, and we're going to debunk that because now they're trying to tap dance now, trying to say that they're not Khazarians. Located along the border up between Europe and Asia, between the Black and Caspian Seas, the findings should thoroughly debunk one of the most questionable but still tenacious hypotheses that most Ashkenazi Jews can trace their roots to the mysterious Khazar kingdom that flourished during the 9th century. In the region between the Byzantine Empire and the Persian Empire, Richards and Osterer said, the genetics suggest that many of the founding Ashkenazi women were actually converts from local European populations. Now, they say, according to them, right, it's the mother that determines their lineage.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying that the genetics suggest many of the founding Ashkenazi women were actually converts from local European populations. The simplest explanation was that it was mainly women who converted. But look at how they try to still try to make a connection to Northeast Africa. They married men who come from the Near East. Richard told Live Science. Another possibility is that Jews actively converted both men and women among local populations at this time. Although researchers would need more detailed study of paternal lineages to test the hypothesis, Richard said. Any comments, guys, as I go to this next source?
Well, remember, Khazaria was all those countries. It was Russia, it was Ukraine, it was Germany. It was one big block of area that they went and conquered. All these people, converted them to them, or they married into them, or destroyed them, whatever they did, and they stayed in those countries. So you're going to find their DNA in every last one of them, because that's what they did. They love to go and conquer territory because they're warriors.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You hit it on the nail, Sister Carol. See, they try to disguise that as invasions as migration.
Yes. No, it was
invasions.
It was
But they wanted to
invasions.
say that it was migrations.
It was
as if it was
invasions
a
of killing.
peaceful.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they came to this country too, did the same thing. It went everywhere. They're Vikings.
Exactly. Brian Scott, any comments?
I'm working on something to bring up on for you. I'm working on it right now. I'm gonna get it up in a little while.
All right. So, and I think I have a source here to Sister Carol's point that shows their invasion patterns of their invasion through Europe. All right. So genetics suggests, again, this is a quote from what the article I pointed out. Genetics suggests many of the founding Ashkenazi women were actually converts to local European populations. This is how Aretz study traces Ashkenazi roots to European women who probably converted to Judaism. This is trying to reinforce that same point. But again, it says here, most Ashkenazi Jews are descendants of European women who converted to Judaism, possibly around the time of the early Roman Empire, concludes a new genetic study that casts doubts on many prevailing theories about the origins of Ashkenazim. All right. So this is them trying to use the women to try to debunk the Khazarian hypothesis, as the other article tried to do. So the study, published Tuesday in the journal Nature Communication, analyzed samples of the mitochondrial DNA, which is passed down only from the mother, taken from more than 3,500 people through the Near East, the Caucasus, and Europe, including Ashkenazi Jews. The researchers found that more than 80% of the maternal lineages of Ashkenazi Jews could be traced to indigenous Europeans. And what's interesting, Sister Carol, this is your area of study. We, as far as the Negroes, the women is where you guys' mitochondrial DNA can
right.
differ.
Correct.
Theirs
The
are all
code.
the same.
It's called the Eve mitochondrial code. We create every nation that's out in the world.
Exactly. And family, if you don't believe me, let Rebecca, this professor Rebecca, I think her name is Rebecca Cam or something like that.
Cam.
Let me show you what she says, because she got a lot of flack. And she was the one, her and her team was the one that discovered the Eve gene. All right. Let's start here. Let's see if it's here. Here we go.
And this is how we can trace our way back to our genetic Eve and her daughters. So written within it is the history of the world's women, and therefore the human race. Professor Rebecca Kahn was the pioneering scientist who uncovered the first all-important clue.
I started working on human mitochondrial DNA so that I would have some kind of view that was objective, that would help me understand and help other people understand how humans around the world were related.
With this new science, she could. Harmless mutation happens all the time in some part of the mitochondrial DNA, leaving minute markers at every change. These markers are like barcodes and can be read in the same way. Kahn and her team discovered the changes happen at a fairly constant rate. They found the groups with the earliest markers were the Africans living inside Africa, and wondered if they might be the oldest people in the world.
I was very excited when I first started to get evidence, and it was so counterintuitive. I'd put 20 Europeans and 20 African Americans on a sheet of X-ray film, and every African American showed differences, and all the Europeans looked the same. And I thought I'd mislabeled something, or I thought I'd made some drastic mistake. And we kept repeating and repeating things. As we got more samples from different areas, I realized that it was a difference in the pattern, and that this whole new type of evidence based on mitochondria was going to change the way we thought about modern humans.
Okay, so you heard what she said. She said only in our women she saw differences, but in theirs is all the same. So how is it that through the maternal lineages, their mitochondria is going to be different according to them? Any comments, Sister Carol?
It speaks for itself. The DNA is in our bodies. Period. No other woman on this planet has that except for the Negro woman. So they can say whatever they want to say. You can't dispute blood. You cannot dispute anything that comes from the human body. You can convert, like the man said, what was the rabbi said? You can convert your religion, but you can't become that. You can't be birthed that. You have to convert to that. Like majority of us, when we were born into Christianity because who? My mother or father was probably in Christianity, but we were Negroes by ethnicity. Same thing with them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Berean scholar,
And
comments?
the thing is that there's many people, like you said when you first started this teaching off, who are now knowing who ain't. But as many of their young people are looking at their own DNA and find out, wait a minute, I'm not what they say I was.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Correct.
Exactly. And so this is why they had to bring down 23andMe.
And they also stopped from having DNA testing done in the country.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Those
so as
some
you
of the
see
clips,
here,
those some of the clips I put up. They want me to they didn't want me to see. I had them up here.
what's that again?
Those are some of the clips of the young people, new clips of young people saying, "Hey, I'm not from the Levant. I'm not from Palestine."
No, and you never
Yeah,
will be.
yeah. And see, and that's the thing. I posted several clips of that I've had with them saying that they did their DNA, especially with 23andMe, and 23andMe was showing that their initially was Khazars, but because of the 1948ers taking legal actions, they had to remove Khazars from there. And they had to remove their references. That's why 23andMe began to do a lot of generic, in their entries became very generic.
Right.
And they were just messing everybody up, basically. Right? So, as you see here, although Jewish men may have migrated into Europe from Israel around 2,000 years ago, they brought few or no wives with them. You see how they're trying to say it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to say it was the Israelite men that migrated to this area and they got with the local women, right? And it says, who suggest that the men married and converted European women, first along the Mediterranean and later in Western and Central Europe. All right, well, we're not going to deal with the law of return. I want to skip down to this key point. According to the law of return, a Jew is a person born to a Jewish woman. The Ashkenazi Jewish women are proven to be European origins of European origins. This further proves that they are European converts. All right. So when we go back here, actually, I want to fast forward here. I want to get to another source here. All right. Because this is basically saying the same thing of them trying to use the mitochondria, saying that it's the women, not the men. The men was from Northeast Africa. All right. So this is where I really want to shut this thing down, family. All right. Really want to shut this down. Let me see here. Let me make sure that this is correct here. All right. This is a key point it says here. Furthermore, let me read here. Ashkenazi mitochondrial DNA variation have ancestry in prehistoric Europe rather than Near East or Caucasus, the Caucasus. And this, again, mitochondria, that's the women, said Richards. Furthermore, most of the remaining minor founders share a similar deep European ancestry. So everything is Europe, period. Thus, the great majority of Ashkenazi maternal lineages were not brought from the Levant, as commonly supposed, nor recruited in the Caucasus, as sometimes suggested, but assimilated within Europe. So it's making it clear all the women, period, the maternal lineage is European. But we're going to use their own people to debunk them here. All right. So when did Jewish community, as we know them, began to adopt the matrilineal principle? Right. The origins of the matrilineal principle in rabbinic law, published online by Cambridge University Press. Right. Look at this here. It says, according to rabbinic law, the 2nd century to the present, the offspring of a Gentile mother and a Jewish father is a Gentile, while the offspring of a Jewish mother and a Gentile father is a Jew. Right? It goes on to say each of these two rulings has its own history. All right. Anthropologists and sociologists use the term matrilineal to describe societies in which kinship is determined through the females and not the males. Such societies once existed in ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. It goes on to say, and can still be found in parts of Africa, India, Polynesia. Although rabbinic society and family law not yet been studied in the light of modern anthropological and sociological theories, it seems clear that the kinship pattern which characterize matrilineal societies are thoroughly foreign to rabbinic societies. So it's saying that, hey, originally it wasn't about the mother, it was the father. Right? And it goes on to say here, where is it here? Why then, because it says, let me back it up a little bit. Status, kinship, and succession are determined through the father. The family of the father is considered family. The family of the mother is not considered family. Right? And it goes on to say, why then did the rabbis adopt a matrilineal principle for the determination of the status of their offsprings of mixed marriages? Right? And family, I'm not going to read all of this, but this is Numbers chapter 27, verse 8 through 11. It makes it clear that it goes through the man. I'm not going to break down this passage for the sake of time. Berean Scholar, you have something you want to show as I progress here? I see a couple of things here. Man, you look like you got the whole library, man.
It's just what they were saying. You can put the map up first.
I'll just use the map real quick because I'm trying to minimize the video clips for the sake of time. But I'll put the map up here real quick.
The video ain't but like 12 seconds. But this is where they are from, up there the Byzantine Empire, and the first one is just like a 12-second clip, and her DNA points her right up there. I mean, these are young people. They know new people who are saying, "Wait a minute!" And it's all since the latest Palestine thing happening. People are questioning what's happening who have never questioned before. Now they're going back and getting the DNA and find out, hey, wait a minute, what they're doing is not right, and we don't have any claim there. Look at my DNA.
Yeah, You're hitting it right on the nail. Now, question: do it have music in the background of any of them?
The one does not. Or I could just mute it.
The only reason why I'm saying that, I'm asking, is because YouTube, they get kind of funny when you with some of these, because I've pulled some of them from TikTok and I ended up having to clip it out because it had music.
I muted it, so you won't have no sound. Just her showing the map.
Okay. Let me remove this one. Yeah, and I can tell. I have her clip.
Yeah.
And her
And
music.
That's where that.
Yeah. I actually shared her clip in some of my older videos, but because of that, her having music in it, I had to remove it and take the music out.
Yeah, I took the music out. But look where it points her. Right in that area.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's her, because I know her video was really, really popular. And then let's pull up the other one here. But the key is, family, it's showing that she has no connection to, as Berean Scholar pointed out with showing this, no connection to Northeast Africa. Her DNA shows that she's from the region that he showed in this initial image. All right, let's show this other one.
I muted it also.
Okay.
I've seen both of them.
Yeah, I've used this. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen both.
So she pointed to the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, he is proud Zionist who knew who he was from. She said that's where he's from. But when he got it done, and the person who's going to read his DNA report, it shocked him. He has no Middle Eastern DNA, none.
But the thing that they have as a default, well, DNA doesn't tell me who I am.
Right.
That's what many of them will default to.
And they also added the word Jewish into the description of a DNA code.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as a Jewish ethnicity.
That's a whole nother. But see, that's the thing. It's like when we start understanding the word Jew, even with the Jewish, it's still made up constructs that point to them.
Correct. I mean, it's no different than saying you got Christian DNA.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or Muslim DNA. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But like it's funny, the face on the young man you saw, because he been told some from his grandfather and father where he was and where he had right to return. And when she got his DNA, she said, "Wait a minute, none."
Right.
Armand. And so, family, what you see here, I share sources with them trying to say everything stemmed from the matrilineal, but we got a 1948er geneticist that's knocking down all their angles that they tried to use. His name is Aaron Elhake, and there's a whole nother discussion on that. I'm not going to get into it, but look at what he says here. You guys are already familiar with this, but I'll just reiterate this point. He says, Aaron Elhake, a geneticist at Johns Hopkins School of Public Health, thinks so. In a recently published study in Genome Biology, Evolution, he is calling for a rewrite of commonly held assumptions. And notice look at how it's worded, a rewrite of commonly held assumptions about Jewish ancestry. Instead of being primarily the descendants of the 12 tribes of Israel, present-day Jewish populations are, finds Elhake, primarily the children of a Turkish people who lived in what is now Russia, north of Georgia, east of Ukraine. The civilization of Khazars converted from tribal religions to Judaism between the 7th and 9th centuries. The controversy cut into by Elhake's work runs deep, far past the lab bench. Among some circles, his conclusions are bound to be unpopular. This is the first scientific paper that proves the Khazarian hypothesis and reject the Rhineland hypothesis, he says, and with it about 40 years of research, although his findings will not be welcomed in all circles, El-Hak's interest is more medical than political. All I want is to help my colleagues who are studying genetic disorders. He says, I hope this work will open up a new era, genetic studies where populations, stratifications will be used more. And then he goes on to say here, and this is key, family. Look at what he points out here. Previously, studies had, for example, combined the question of similarity among and between Jewish populations and the question of ancestry and relatedness to non-Jewish populations. El-Hake viewed these questions separately. Jewish communities are less homogeneous than is popularly thought, he says, with Jewish communities along the former Khazarian border showing the most heterogeneity, His second question centered on ancestry. When comparing Jewish communities to their non-Jewish neighbors, in other words, it says neighbors, Caucasus, or Levant, in other words, Middle Eastern. That's why I want to make sure you guys see how they have Levant, and they made sure they have Middle East, which is really Northeast Africa.
Right.
Populations which is closest to Jews. All Eurasian Jewish communities are closer to Caucasus population, he writes, with Central European Jews closer to Italians. Non-Jewish as the exception. Not one of the 8 evaluated Jewish populations were closer to Levant populations. So he's saying that none of them are related to Northeast Africa.
None.
That's why I say, family, they know who they are and they know who they are not.
Exactly.
Any comments, Berean Scholar and Sister Carol, before I continue?
Well, let's go to the word. What does it say in Deuteronomy? Is it 5 or 7? I can't remember now. That the Most High tells us not to marry other nations. Specifically.
Chapter 7.
7. Which eliminates all of that. About this mother situation. That they're kind of claim that they come from Semitic whatever, and they marrying this woman to make these Jewish people.
Now, actually, even though Deuteronomy 7, because it says don't marry your daughters, don't marry your sons.
Right.
But when you read Numbers, I mean, that's like a mic drop.
Yes.
Because you even have a situation where Moses is actually explaining like daughters, right, who may have had no brothers, and how to transition the heritage from the father, how they're going through the ranks, and they start with the father's lineage before they get to the daughters.
Exactly. It's always about the patriarch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So they even went to the father's brothers and so forth. So to your point though, that's, even their own sources make it clear that they initially, that biblically, it was always from the patrilineal, but then they don't say where, they say around the 2nd, 3rd century, something like that, that is switched over to matrilineal, and it switched back over in like the 17th century to patrilineal. It's just a bunch of garbage.
Exactly. Well, it's called "Let's Make Our History" as we go.
Exactly, and who gave them the authority to change it?
And who's right? And who's going to challenge us?
Yeah.
That's the key. Who's going to? Not only are we going to change it, but who's going to come and challenge us? Because if you challenge us, we will destroy you. That's how they operate.
That's not just them, because that's right across the board. The Roman Catholics, was just as brutal, if not even more brutal, because they empowered all of this. They actually was the major key for them getting back, not getting back, but taking over Palestine.
Correct.
They played a major role.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why, you have a mosque over in that area, in what a Christian cathedral over there too,
right?
Because initially they were, when I say the Catholic Church was seeking to have their so-called Vatican headquarters. It was going to be in that area.
Now, my question is this: did the Romans hate the Khazarians? Because remember now, they were being forced to convert over to Christianity. They had to make a choice which one they wanted to go to. They didn't want to go to Islam. They didn't want to go to Christianity, so they chose Judaism.
Well, he
As
chose
their choice.
Judaism according to the history that Judaism was closer to when we say Judaism, the
Right.
Judaism that they were practicing,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
Was because it had a lot of, as we see, it has a lot of satanic things in there.
Absolutely.
Bloods, rituals, and all of that. So
Right.
the Khazarians chose that because it was closer to what they were already practicing. It was already
Right.
to their culture. Because
Correct.
remember, the Khazarians were using using skin as leather, human skin as
Yes.
leather.
And sacrifices. Right. Exactly.
Exactly. So they were doing all what you see, a lot of the things you see inside the Talmud is
Mhm.
what they were doing.
Correct.
So they chose that because it was closer to what they were already practicing.
Right. But the Romans have some of that too because they believe they enjoy Babylonian stuff too as well.
Well, when you get to the Romans, and actually I shared it in some of the sources because they write about how ruthless. Not they. When you look at Herodotus and he even have in his writings how ruthless the they wasn't called Khazars. They
Mhm.
referred to them as Scythians or Scythians.
Scythians, right?
They were showing how ruthless and barbaric these people were.
Mhm.
So the Romans, the Greeks, and even in the
Right.
Maccabees
Right.
talks about them.
Yes.
You know, so but
Right.
yeah, so when you look at some of the older scholars of that time, it was the Scythians, even though they still synonymous with the Khazars, to your point, and the Ukrainians and all of that, but they were known as the Scythians at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So there is things that are noted about just how fierce these guys were, how barbaric these guys were. To your point.
Right.
And the problem is when you say who's going to challenge them, they went back and subjugated themselves as not only they put themselves in history, but now they are the scholars and the creators of the universities who promoting this propaganda.
Absolutely.
Well, that's the hustle, right? You know, they created their own universities and produced their own scholars to now say this person is a scholar in this area. We
Mhm.
could come up with our own university called Chewing Gum, right? And
Right.
then Sister Carol could get a doctorate in chewing spearmint gum better
Mhm.
than anyone.
That's right.
So now she's a scholar, she's a specialist in that area that we created just to say that this chewing gum is good.
And it is.
They'll make you a psychologist.
But you see what I'm saying, though? But that's the hustle. That's the whole purpose behind what they do. They created their own universities that now say this person specializes in this area. But you can knock down all of their doctrine as we're doing right now.
Exactly.
There's so
And the
many
same-
holes to it because their universities is to promote their culture that they created.
Mm-hmm.
And
The reason
also
why-
based upon the cultures that they hijacked.
And the reason why we have the word Jews all over through the Bible, where we have the Jews throughout most literature, they inserted themselves
But they
there.
step in that. That's right. Exactly.
Well, and part of it too is not just them. That's why I say it's the Roman Catholic Church,
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman
Right.
Catholic Christian Church.
Right. Exactly.
All of them embracing this delusion.
Mhm.
Because the Roman Catholic, the Roman Church did not want anything Hebraic to be a part of the scriptures.
Right.
But see, but they didn't. But then at the same time, when it was dealing with when you start getting into the transliterations, now in the second and third century, they didn't want the law and the prophets to be included with their canonical books. What they were trying to do off the testaments of the disciples and other books that they had, but they didn't want the law and the prophets to be included with their canonical books. Right. But when we
Right.
get to the 12th century, when you start dealing with the Wycliffe Bible, he introduced the word Jew far as GYU.
Mm-hmm.
By the time we get to the 17th century, that's when they coined the JEW and really added the political spin to it. It was already, GYU. That word is a English evolution, not from the Greek, not from the Latin. it comes from the English, right? So to your point, Berean Scholar and also Sister Carol, these people, they were very well calculated, and how they started really infiltrating is by what? Getting at these so-called Christian theologians.
Mm-hmm.
What's that one that's a real terrible Bible that they really put their whole agenda in to push it. What is it again?
Dates.
It's Dates, but it's another one.
Schofield.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. So, like I said, these things, their agenda is very big, and all of them in it. You know what I mean? All of them colluded, together. And they all played their parts in different angles. Even though the Catholic Church, to your point, Berean Scholar, they want to separate themselves from the ancient Israelites.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They cool with these so-called modern day 1948ers. They don't have a problem with them.
Right.
They have a problem with the ancient Israelites.
Correct. And they would never call themselves that ever. You will never hear one of them call themselves, I'm an Israelite, I'm a Hebrew Israelite, I'm an ancient Hebrew Israelite.
And that's why they coined the word Israeli.
That's right.
All right. So real quick, and then we get to the Palestinian portion of it. But family, we're walking you guys through the process of how to debunk the 1948ers. But we saw in sources how they're trying to say the women are Europeans, but then we see the source from a geneticist who also uses not just the mitochondrial side of stuff, but he used the haplogroups, the Y haplogroups. And I have I have a book, but I left it upstairs in my office upstairs. I should have brought it here. That further, and you guys know I use it a lot, dealing with the Ashkenazi Jewry. And that shuts it down. Give you a number of other geneticists that uses and proves the Khazarian is not just a theory or hypothesis, that it's real, it's true. All right. Any comments before we continue, guys?
No, go ahead.
brother.
All right. So the forward, can 23andMe tell us if Jews are a race? And is that a good thing? You guys remember this, right? And I'm not going through the whole article, family. Matter of fact, I'll drop it inside the comment section, and you guys could go through it, and you could really use this as a key point, because this is a Jewish publication that been around since like 1870, and their whole purpose is all about the 1948ers, right? This is their publication, and they even basically, in a nutshell, further proves the point that we're making here. Let me see here. And then we'll get into, looking here, we're getting ready to get into the Philistines. Let me drop this in the Palestinians. And we'll allow Sister Carol and Berean Scholar to lead us in the selection. All right. So Ashkenazic Jews often find themselves in the peculiar situation of being 90% Ashkenazi Jewish and 99% European. Y'all see that, family?
Mm-hmm.
We're not making this up. They say that they're 90% Ashkenazic Jewish. Now, within that 90%, they're 99% European. So 99% European, but within that 99%, 90% of them Ashkenazi Jews. But they're saying that overall, they all are still Europeans.
Yep.
Sephardic Jews may be told that they are mostly Middle Eastern and North African. And that's a whole nother discussion that I've been, I already have part 2 mapped out. And I just got to lay it down, going in on this so-called Sephardic, because the Ashkenazis created them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it says may be told that they are mostly Middle Eastern and North African and less than 10% Ashkenazic. All right. Stuart Schaufman, a travel writer and blogger who writes under the name, I'm not going to mention it here, said he bought a kit from 23andMe because even though his family insists they're exclusively Jewish, he thought there was a possibility that he has some Jewish ancestry. I was curious because you never know, says Schaufman. Family stories are just stories. Schaufman learned that he is what? 99.8% Ashkenazi Jewish. So basically saying he's almost 100% European.
Mm-hmm.
Said the test hasn't made much of a difference on his sense of Jewish identity. Judaism really informed me who I am. So he said the religion created him. My values and my worldview, Schaufman says, 23andMe hasn't made me more or less Jewy at all. I'm just Jewy. However, Schaufman added, he's Jewy and white. While other Jews, Sephardic, Ethiopian Jews, can't claim that distinction. He's an ethnic minority, but a white one nonetheless. I get all the benefits of white privilege, he added. Right? Think about it, family. They get the privilege of white and they get to say that they're Shemitic people.
Right.
In other words, they get to say that they're both white and black. Because Shemitic is a subgroup under Afro-Asiatics.
That's right.
Say what?
Yeah.
Got my mind made up.
Come on now. Come on now.
Say what?
Yeah.
So he says he get all the benefits of white privilege. And guess what, family? We keep endorsing this foolishness.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with this whole Esau the white man stuff.
That part. That's stupidity.
Right? Man, that's a whole nother
can of worms.
Yeah,
Don't say that.
yeah.
Don't say that name. Oh my goodness.
All right.
Esau, Elamites, all
New
of it.
trolls will show up.
I'm trying to tell you, man. So now Japheth is Hebrew now. So anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. So let's go back to the Jewish Almanac and let's knock down the Philistines and the Palestinians. Let's answer those questions since we're here. When we go back to the Jewish Almanac, it highlights that, strictly speaking, it is incorrect to call an ancient Israelite a Jew or a contemporary Jew an Israelite or a Hebrew. The first Hebrews may not have been Jews at all, and contemporary Palestinians. So basically, we're saying the same thing about the contemporary Palestinians. I should have added that here. I didn't have time to. I didn't think about it. But who are the Palestinians? Who are they? Philistines. Like the ancient Egyptians, the ancient Philistines are Hamitic descendants of Ham. Let me say that again, family. The ancient Palestinians they really are Hamitic people. That messes up how they portray Goliath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in these movies, Goliath, they started out having him has been a straight Caucasian to now he's looking like he's an Arab.
Yep.
So the original Philistines, they are descendants of Ham. They are a Hamitic people. Let's prove it. Genesis chapter 12, verse 6 through 14. I'm not going to read all of that, but the key part right here where it says, the sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Phut, Canaan. But let's skip down to, let's see here.
There it is.
Verse 13. Right? And we see here, Mizraim begat Ludim and Anamim and Lehabim and Naphtuhim and Pathruzim and Calsluhim and Carolhuhim and Barine Scalahuim.
Vaseline.
Y'all is rolling right. So out of whom came Philistine. So we see that they are under who?
From Mizraim to Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
So we see that we can't get away from it, family. They are under Cush.
Yep.
And that's the
under
main
Ham, rather.
reason. That's the main reason that the Most High made sure they put the lineages in the script.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And that's where they came up with the term Cushy.
So
Talking
now we're
about-
going to the. Go ahead, Sister Carol. I didn't know you still.
No, I was going to say because that's what they call the Palestinians over there, Cushy.
Well, primarily they point Cushy to
us
as a
Right.
slang.
Correct.
You know what I mean? They do. Remember the video clip too? They use it as an N word, equivalent to the N word over in Israel. I mean,
Right.
the land of Israel.
Right.
So the key here we see here, Philistines, immigrants, right? They have the word immigrants there. That's a crazy definition because this kind of like pushes the Israeli narrative, right? As if they're not part of that area. So an inhabitant of Philistia, descendants of Mitzrayim, who immigrated from Caphtor to the western seacoast of Canaan. Right? So the original Philistines, right? They were not immigrants, you know what I mean, in that area.
Right.
But just the way that, you see the political sides of this. So when we go to the Eastern Bible Dictionary, it's going to confirm Philistia, the land of the Philistines. All right? So who are the Philistines? The Philistines are often linked to sea people, possibly Cretes, Cyprus, and Aegean. They settled in Ashkelon, Gaza, Gath, and Ekron. The culture showed Aegean influences, but they intermarried and assimilated with Shemitic people over the centuries. All right. So we know they had some interactions there with some of the descendants of Shem, but primarily they are what? A Hamitic people. So equating Palestinians directly with Philistines is deceptive, and guess what? It's misleading because many people believe right now that the Palestinians are the Philistines. And again, if that's the case, then they're Hamitic people. It's still an issue with that. Who are the Palestinians? Who created the name? Where did the term Palestinian come from? Well, the term Palestinian comes from the Latin Palestinia, imposed by Roman Emperor Hadrian after the Bar Kokhba revolt in 135 CE. Emperor Hadrian implemented a sweeping retaliation. It was a political strategy of renaming Judea to erase Yahweh, in other words, Judah's identity and heritage from the land. This was a political and psychological strategy to discredit the suppressed Israelites' identity and suppress Israelites, the ancient Israelites' identity. And so this is a source here that kind of proves that I have more sources, but I didn't have time to put everything here. But look at what it says here. And it's going to confirm the key agenda here. I'm not going to read all of that, but it says the renaming of Judea to Syria Palestinia following the oppression of the Bar Kokhba revolt. Hadrian decided to take drastic measures to erase the Jewish presence in the region. One of these actions was the renaming of the province of Judea to Syria Palestinia. This was not merely an administrative change, but a deliberate attempt to sever the historical and religious connection of the Jews to their land. The choice of the name Palestinia referred to the ancient Philistines' traditional enemies of the Jews in the Old Testament. By invoking this name, Hadrian aimed to undermine the historical continuity of the Jewish people in the region, stripping them of their claim to the land. You can see some of the political, added to this, but I have other sources that I didn't have time to put in here. But the renaming was also a strategic move to prevent any future Jewish uprising or attempts to reclaim their independence. So there's other sources that prove this, prove that the whole purpose of them renaming Palestinia or naming that area Judea to Palestinia was all about erasing identity. So Palestinia was never a native or ancient name used by any of the ancient Israelites, none of the Canaanites or any of the people of that time themselves. But guess what? Under the British Mandate, 1920 to 1948, the name Palestinian was reused again as a colonial administrative term. Modern Palestinians adopted the name as a geographic national identity. All right, we're going to stop right there. Any comments, guys?
This campaign they have of watching out who we are is just extensive and ongoing.
Yep.
I mean, as we speak right now, they're having a conference in Israel with over 100 pastors, and most of them are melanated pastors, so they can indoctrinate them into Zionism. They come back to the States and preach their gospel.
Absolutely, they've been doing that for quite some time, family, to make sure that they get the cattle going a certain direction, and that's why they all are sounding the same. You know what I mean?
Yep.
With this whole push for these 1948ers,
Well,
and they've been doing this quite some time.
I think they're pushing it more so hard now because we're in the book reading.
Oh yeah,
and we're identifying who we are and what we're not. So
Yeah.
to cut down that chatter by any means necessary, either you're gonna put us on the ADL list, or I'll come to your church and get your pastors in case you're gonna go in there and start waking them up. We're gonna make them all Zionists, and we're gonna make them teach this.
You're right, so it's because they're targeting the black community pastors. They put the
Have to. They have to.
because that's who waking up.
Well, they have to, because remember now, the church is what taught us. They were our leaders. The pastors were our leaders. Where did we go to get all our information? We went to the church. We had our meetings there. Whatever political situation we had going on, we go to the church and discuss it with the pastor. So, what better place to go to the pastor as the leader to continue indoctrination to control the masses in every little pod? You got 5 churches in a block. We got to control all 5 of those churches and give them our information so they can continue.
And the key is they know that many of these pastors are hurting for money.
That part.
Yes.
That's the key, because
I was going there next. That's the last thing I was
because
gonna
a lot
say.
of these ministries that they're targeting as pastors, again, they're hurting for money because
yes,
what many people don't know, because I know many people look at like the 2 or 3% of pastors that are actually making money, or have a large budget, so to speak, like the Jakes and those guys.
Right.
But most pastors are coming out of pocket.
Yes.
Especially when they're starting up ministries or they have low salaries.
Correct.
Many of them making $30,000 to $40,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them not even making that.
Exactly
So
that.
so they're targeting pastors that really need the resources, and you have others that want to have certain recognitions, but it boils down to money. It boils down to the money. And when I'm hearing pastors, like I heard a couple of pastors videos that I was just peeping out, how they were celebrating or bragging, or they weren't bragging, but they was like celebrating that they're going over to Israel to be on the land, and they're going to be touring and all these different things. They're going to take them to some historic. See, they play on all of that.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
remember
And
the
just like
guys
that 20, what is
28,
his name?
2819. Yeah.
2819
That's what I was going to say
pastor.
about him. They did him.
They took him. He was,
Yep.
when I was researching in 2018, they were struggling. They were barely able to stay afloat.
Mm-hmm.
But suddenly, trip to Israel. Now he's like the hottest thing out there.
Yep. And he pushes
And
their propaganda.
He's
and
pushing their
begin
propaganda.
and they come back saying that they're the authority on, because in fact the very person I had back up there, me and him had some discourse online, because I knew this person when he was in high school, and he's the authority on who they are and what they are.
Yep.
Mm. Yeah.
Amazing. But to show you how easy we're manipulated by a dollar.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's been the playbook, because again, many of our community are struggling, and a lot of these churches, like these old Baptist churches, those structures, a lot of it need money to maintain.
Right.
A lot of because if you look at it, a lot of them have shut down because of not having the resources to put a new roof on it, put a new unit, because a lot of those are old buildings. And I know in Newark, where I'm from, quite a few churches shut down.
Right.
Because of not having the resources. So they're targeting, many of our pastors within our community, but they're very crafty. They play on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
They playing every angle that they can. They doing pastors, leaders. They doing politicians. They really hitting every angle that they can.
Mm-hmm. Got control.
And they feel like they're losing their grip now. So they got to tighten the grip even more, make the attempts to tighten the grip that much more, because of more and more people are saying, hey, y'all not the people.
Correct.
And the influencers, like they said, just said in your chat, because the video you put up at the beginning of the week that showed what's his name backpedaling on his stand on who he was as being Israelite, Hebrew, Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
Because who's probably over his contracts.
They are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always have been. He's not the only one. Of several actors have come out and claimed it, and all of a sudden they did a 360.
Yeah. And that's why a lot of actors and actresses got blacklisted because of standing for Palestinians.
That's right. Absolutely.
So, yeah, even that video, that tunnel video, man, that
oh my, ooh,
you see their delusion, you see the influence. Nothing happened. You see how quick that disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
That was like viral. Then suddenly, with a flip of a switch, it disappeared.
Oh,
yeah.
And wanted to try to make it seem like those are like teenager guys. Those guys are like in their 30s, 40s.
Yep, 50s.
And if you saw us fighting the police like they were fighting,
and tearing the synagogue up because they was mad because they was shutting it down. That was the part that was killing me. They was upset. They destroyed their own building.
yeah, but they say we have a tendency of destroying our own stuff. But look at what they were doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So family, we hope. Go ahead, Sister Carol. I'm sorry.
I want to know what their costume represent. What is that? What is all that suit represents? What is that about? I could never get anybody to explain that to me. I asked one once before what this outfit means, because you've never seen any so-called quote unquote. If you're going to say you the people dressed like this. What does this suit mean? This black suit and the black hat.
Oh, let's see here. Let me look it up.
Well, we know what the curls are.
Walking around looking like FBI agents.
Well, those curls came. They hijacked it from the
Yeah,
Yemenites.
the locks. Yes.
All right, let's see here. It originated from European nobility fashion.
Mm.
Let me see here. So yeah, Eastern European Jews, including Hasidism, copied this fashion simply because it was the common dress code of the countries they lived in.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives a source, Jewish Culture Studies Review.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
And even some that have the large hats, because the brick hat, or I call it the brick hat, gets higher and higher, as if they're like some like bishops, if you will, those who are hierarchy in the rabbinical I guess priesthood, if you will, wearing the big brick on top of their head.
And it's another sign that you can tell nobody who lives in a tropical area is gonna wear all black
That's
all
my
the
point.
time.
That's my point. That's why that alone by itself make you go like, well, no ancient people wore that over in Jerusalem. You didn't see Christ walk around with that on, or Abraham, or anybody else walk around with a suit on. That's the first red flag. Walk around looking like Halloween.
Oh, looking here, nothing about these hats is ancient Israelites. These hats, it says these hats entered in over 2,000 years after Torah. Let me see here, looking at something here. Yeah, but it's pretty much nobility. That's the primary thing that I'm seeing.
That's right, Sister Bethia. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln wore that. Got that right.
Yeah, because it says that the late 1700s. It started in the late 1700s to 1800s. And when wide brim hats were part of respectable attire. And where Pastor Miller wore his.
I had a Kango now.
Yeah, it was a black one.
The black Kango, yeah. But I'm not in a tropical or I was in the South, but
That's right.
Yeah, but the key point to your question is that that's nothing biblical. Is nothing. It doesn't go back to any ancient.
Period.
Yeah.
But I see a bunch of Russian people wearing that outfit.
Close, exactly.
And Yugoslavians wear that outfit.
Now the hats, I will say, you go to cold places, you're gonna, especially I'm from the north. Yeah. You have some of those big Russian hats. That's what they call them, Russian hats.
That's what I just said. The Russians wear those.
Yeah.
The Russians.
That's what they call them, Russian hats.
But that lets you know that's where you from, because you wearing that outfit, you wearing that hat.
And everywhere that we were, they followed. In fact,
Mhm.
there's recorded incident of them being in Spain and Portugal while we were there,
Oh
and
yeah, they were.
and in the other places that we were, they followed, like in India, they followed.
Mhm. Right. But it's a Russian hat. It's a Russian outfit. That's the point I'm trying to make. I've seen that in Yugoslavia. I've seen that in Czechoslovakia. I've seen that in Russia. All those territories wear that outfit. So you're telling on yourself by your outfit, by your clothes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We ain't got to go into your blood. We can look at your outfit. Your outfit ain't Gucci, man. You Russian.
Yeah, they control everything, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, guys, we want to do the final comments because I'm past my 2-hour limit, and I don't want to
Yes.
start revealing family secrets or
Oh.
anything like that. so,
Oh.
so we'll start with you, Sister Carol. Anything that you want to share with the people before we wrap up?
Keep digging. Get into these
Yes.
books and just dig. It's so much history. And what the funny part about all of this is that cracks me up. They never thought they wrote all this stuff, wrote all these books and articles and journals and everything they could think of to document their works because they thought they were going to be the people of power at the end. They never dreamed that we will use their own literature against them.
Yeah, yeah. Family, real quick, want to thank you guys for this.
Yay!
Yay!
Want to thank you guys for this. Thought I'd show it on the screen. I know it's the.
Let me put my shades on.
The
It's shining.
reflection here is So
That's nice.
So
Yeah,
thank
put it
you
on the
guys
wall.
for
You
this
got to put
right
on the
here.
wall behind you.
So really appreciate it, family. The next one is the million.
All
There
right.
you go. There you go. 1 million people who will wake up and find out who they are and
That's
walk
right.
in the news of life.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So as I said, we wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys. And they've been doing some of everything to try to keep us from reaching as much as we reached for us in terms of the people, because we've been reaching a lot. And so really appreciate you guys. So our next step is, all right, well, we got 1 million. And as Berean Scholar said, if we all could hit 1 million, then that's 1 million different areas we get to affect as what what we're doing as a community. And that means that if it's 1 million, that we're affecting far more than 1 million, because it says
Yes.
one
Yes.
could chase 1,000 and 2 could do 10,000.
Come on now.
So
Yeah.
you multiply that even more, add zeros to it, to the million, we get to 1 million. So if we're hitting 100,000, then that tells you we have we're hitting a lot more than what those numbers are stating. So family, let's keep the word, keeping this word out there, sharing these videos. Berean Scholar channels, he's really putting in a lot of work. So I encourage you guys. Matter of fact, Berean Scholar, go ahead and tell the people about your channel, and then we'll close out with final words.
Well, I wanted to also say, because I've been hearing from people in the chat and in my comments that they are doing the same thing they've been doing by not allowing some people to be notified. They're stopping the notification. And so I want to thank the others for letting me know that. But they know they before they did it to me, they did it to they did it so much to Pastor. So it's up to you guys, and thank you guys for going back and making comments and checking again, because they don't want the truth to get out. They don't want 1 million people waking up and knowing who they are. They don't want 1 million people plus seeing that they are Israelites, descendants of Jacob, and going out and telling other people, waking them up. So thank you guys for sharing these videos. Like Pastor said, my channel is, Berean Scholar is just another extension to be able to put up the truth out so people can know who they are, that we can wake up as many people that we can who are sitting in these, like you said, I'm not gonna say Abraham religion, but sitting in these places who've been lied to and fed a lot of propaganda. So we need to get them. We need to wake them up also.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sister Carol, any final words you want to share?
Just what I said earlier, just continue to read and deep dive. Deep dive this information. It's so much in the word and sources around us that is no reason why we can't continue to expose. The more you know, the more powerful you are in knowledge.
Aman, I didn't even realize. I didn't even notice this super chat.
Uh-oh.
The Ghost Tiger. Why are the majority record producers Ashkenazi imposters? They need us to go. Glory to Yah. Yeah, they know where the talent is. They know also purposely using the music to suppress our communities, to perpetuate certain behaviors.
Right.
And we see it. All of us that you see on this panel, we were part of the 80s, the 70s, the 80s, and in the early 90s, seeing how music changed.
Yep.
Hip hop went from awareness, believe it or not, the West Coast had awareness music. They did a compilation song of stopping the violence.
Sure did.
And then soon as the turn to like 1991, 92,
yep.
Things completely changed. It shifted. And there was secret meetings that was held to change the whole trajectory of where hip hop was to where it is now.
And the interesting thing you said that I don't know if anybody else watched the Diddy documentary on Netflix. You could see the rise of how he was from the very beginning until he met Clive Davis, who was one of them. And then after that, he was empowered. You can see the empowerment he had and what he went out and did after that. But I thought that was very interesting how he was here, and soon he met Clive, he elevated.
It's a lot more to it because the person that did that broke him in was
Andre, right?
And then we get into understanding what's his name, Rick Rubin, and all those guys,
right?
They always have, when you deal with the industry, they always have them in those spaces, especially
correct, always
when you back then when you was dealing with artist development, it was those guys telling you how to develop.
Correct.
But a lot of the things that Diddy and many of these guys are doing, that was common. That was a commonly known thing that you knew that they were into those things, and you knew to stay away from certain spaces and certain groups.
Absolutely.
It's really sad, because I used to be in those spaces, and I walked away from it because I was not going to sell my soul to that stuff.
Right.
And that's, they have things in place that they set you up, to force you into certain behaviors. But a lot of that, again, to your point, ultimately, that sound like Mossad, right? That sound like Epstein. That sound like, hey, let's infiltrate them to get dirt on them. So now we get to pressure them into XYZ. Pressure them into signing over their masters.
Exactly.
That's there. You see the playbook from that community, but it's on different layers. P. Diddy was already doing that stuff before he even began to interact with Clive Davis.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I said, when you start understanding how they operate, not just in the music industry, but just in entertainment in general, from fashion, modeling, and all that stuff, they right across the board.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's and with that whole Diddy situation, when you start, for me, I think you and I talked about, and we'll wrap up with this. How did 50 Cent get the videos?
We know how he got them.
He got the videos because remember we talked about this, Sister Carol, that The whole thing with that raid
Yep.
was to get the videos,
That's right.
to get the tapes
Mm-hmm.
of everyone that
Was that
Diddy
the-
recorded.
That's right.
So once they raided and they took all his tapes and using it as the excuse of they want to see trafficking and all of this
Mm-hmm.
being facilitated from him, all of his videos became what you call it, evidence
Evidence. Mm-hmm.
that's controlled by who? The federal
Yeah,
government.
government.
So now the federal government has all of that.
Yep.
They have control of all the videos.
Absolutely. Boxes
It's
of
no
it.
secret how Netflix were able to get those videos.
No. And who owned Netflix?
So, family, we're not here defending Puffy or nothing like that. Just we're highlighting the 1948ers.
Yes, because they're
Their
all
control
mixed
is
up in
over
that.
everything.
All
And
of that.
again, their whole purpose to raid Diddy's thing
Mm-hmm.
is to get control of those videotapes. In
Exactly.
their eyes, he had too much power.
That's the point I was making with Clive Davis, who's
Yeah,
the
he had
1948ers.
too much power.
The
Clive
empowerment they
Davis,
gave him, and he took his power and he started using the power against them. And they said, "Oh no, you can't do that. Let's bring him down."
well, because Michael Jackson, and anyway,
Same
that's
thing.
another discussion.
Yep.
Yep.
But again, family, we'll probably do a special discussion. I thought about doing one on that whole situation, but I kind of was like, let me let it ride a little bit, because I would normally do discussions just to kind of
Right.
use it as opportunity to minister.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm here to tell you, family, just like that tunnel gate,
Yep.
with the wickedness there,
Yep.
amplify it, and then you'll understand just how wicked the industry is, the entertainment industry is. It is
Mhm.
wicked.
Very wicked.
Pastor, it goes back to your title of this whole lesson. They're not, but who is, and they control the factor of who they know who is. In fact,
Mhm.
if you go back, the money and the power that is in control right now, who do they make their money off of? Selling us.
Mm-hmm.
They were the biggest part of the sale.
Yep.
They've made money from our bodies, from our talents, from like you said, the music and the energy. They made money off us, and they continue to make money off us.
Now think about the hustle, man, and we'll wrap up on this. Think about this hustle.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot tell or say that we run everything because
Mhm.
it's anti-Semitic.
Yes.
Now that we got the laws passed, now we're
Mhm.
gonna brag and say we own everything.
Right. There you go.
But the laws can't change now because it's in the law.
Right.
Now they purchase MSNBC.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're purchasing what's that other one? CBS.
Mm-hmm.
Now that same person, I'll pay attention to the details. The same
Paramount.
person that Nick Cannon was saying, "Hey, I read the book of such and such, such and such."
Mhm.
Right.
She's now over CBS.
Yep.
Yes. Yep.
So she
And
was
Paramount.
part of the buck breaking of Nick
Mhm.
Cannon,
That's right.
in which he was in the interview with Rabbi Abraham, whatever his name is. And he shared that book, how that book basically was the book that basically put him in his place.
Mm-hmm.
So now they look at what they did. They said, "Hey, you know what? We are going to tell you can't call us any names.
Right.
You can't say that we're owning this, we're owning that. But by the way, we own
We
it
do own-
this and we own that.
Own that.
Exactly.
But we just made it so that way you can't
You
say
can't say
anything.
it. Right. We can say it, but you can't say it.
We've been talking about that for years. Hey, it's okay for them to say that they're not the people, but we can't use their sources of them saying that they're not the people. Then that's anti-Semitic.
Correct.
And don't forget, like I said, who's the major source of their moneymaker? Us.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Culture. Everything about us, they make money off of it.
That's Deuteronomy 28.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
That's right.
That's part of the consequences.
Right.
We're going to labor, but we're not going to benefit from the labor. We're
Mhm.
going to build, but we're not going to occupy. We're going to marry, but we're not going to enjoy our spouses.
That's right.
We're going to be sitting there groping, and it talks about all that. Our children.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that just further proves the scriptures are real, and we are the true people of the Most High.
Amen.
Amen.
That's can't make it any plainer than that. With everything we're talking about, it's proving that we are the true people of the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
Even
And
their
that's
so-called
great.
calamities cannot, or tragic events cannot compare to ours. Can't even be classified.
No, they cannot.
Can't even be in the same conversations, and they know it. But again, going back to the point that you made, they know that they're not,
Mm-hmm.
and now they're cool with it. Now they don't
They don't
care
care.
if the
They
cat
don't
is out the
care.
bag,
No, they don't.
because they're like, no, we got what we want now.
Mm-hmm. You got our laws in place.
Because we got the commander in thief now is one of us,
Yeah.
truly one of us.
We converted him. He's one of us.
Oh, he was always one of them
Yes.
from his grandfather.
Oh, his grandpa. That's right. That's right.
So man, that beast is no joke. That beast is no joke. But guess what? Their arms is, no matter how much power they have, their arms is still too short to box with Yah. And he has the final say. And just when they think that they got us, the Most High is going to show up. Every captivity, every situation Israel had to deal with, once we grabbed hold of coming together and crying to the Father, and that true voice of humility and humbleness, he's going to move.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Every captivity proves that.
Hallelujah.
When you read the book of Judges, it says again, you see the theme. Again, Israel sinned before Yahweh, went XYZ. Yahweh punished them. They went into a captivity. Finally, they learned their lesson, and they all started crying to the Father.
And tearing out. Yeah,
And
tearing.
so he raised up someone within, in some cases, multiple people within that generation to what? Deliver.
Hallelujah.
So Obadiah makes it clear there's going to be multiple deliverers.
Yes.
So it's coming, and now it's at a point where as though they think that now they can do whatever they want, no matter what,
Right.
and nothing is going to stop
Go
them.
ahead. Exactly.
And we continue to prove that the Most High has the final say, because again, everything that they threw at us, it's like we already been there. They can kick out remove grocery stores from our neighborhoods. We still here. They can grab every type of control of our communities. Guess what? We still here. Closing down all kinds of programs. Guess what? We still here.
Here. That's right.
So with that being said, all right, family. All right, we're going to give the Garbage Can Awards. You guys want to give a Garbage Can Award before we wrap up?
Oh, I can't even think of one.
You got such a broad topic. Let's do these lying scholars. How's that?
There you go.
These lying scholars. We're gonna give them the garbage can. I'm gonna give it to the 1948ers. They're liars.
Yep.
They're
That was the
straight
same
liars.
thing.
Well, I know you said the scholars, but I'm just going across the board because
Okay.
many of them not just in the academic area, but I
Right.
just want to go right across the board.
And those
They
outfits
hijack
too.
everything. What's
And those
that?
outfits. And those outfits also. That black outfit. Put that in there.
I'm just gonna go right across the board. They hijacked everything.
Exactly.
And I'm throwing every religious system because they all in on it.
That's right.
They're all in on it.
Crafty.
Because again, I'm watching some of the so-called Islamic people that's practicing that, these Arabs defending the 1948ers. So
Amazing.
all of them get the boot. All
Yep.
of these religious systems get the boot.
Yep.
So I'm going to give them the garbage can. And I am going to give them a 3-piece. And we are going to give them their order to go. Get off our lawn.
Correct.
So with that being said, family, we appreciate you guys. In the words of Yahweh that he gave to Moses in Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 to 14, he said, "Fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, they will not have power over you ever again. The Most High will fight for you." But here's the kicker, family. We have to hold our peace. In other words, we have to be calculated, even in our silence. Can't go back, can't stay here. Keep moving forward. I'll say it again. Can't go back, can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was the... Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10.